There he is, the menace himself, with a nice MMA beat mug. How are you, sir?
What's up, man?
Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Oi, did you get here okay?
Yeah.
It's cold, bro. Is it
I'm
not cold?
Did I pick the worst day to come into the city, you know?
I knew it was going to be cold, but I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry if I'm not looking at you. I'm just about to tweet, but that you're here. But I got up this morning and I was like, holy S-balls.
I woke up, checked my watch, it said 8 degrees, and I'm like, that's a joke.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah.
You're from this area though, right?
Yeah, I live in Long Island.
How is Long Island?
It's cold too.
Yeah.
No, it's nice, it's good.
How did you not end up ever with the Longo? It feels like everyone in that area just gets wrapped up in the Longo Sarah thing, which is, by the way, I love those guys. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I just mean, how did you avoid all that?
Actually, when I first moved to Long Island, I actually had hit up Sarah, and I kept getting Nick. And I was like, hey man, I'm 1-0 pro. I want to train with you guys. And he kept like selling me on
the Mad Monkey?
Yeah, he kept selling me on like the classes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, no, you don't get it. I want to like work out with your fight team. I don't want to work out with your Joe Schmoes.
Were you a pro at that point?
I was 1-0, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just kept pushing me. I'm like, no, I don't want to take your classes.
That's so funny.
And I think that's what happened. You know?
I think Nick and Matt cut ties, man.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I was at the fight where Nick Sarah at the Prudential Center. I think it was the Kimbo James Thompson fight.
Okay.
Where he got kicked in the leg so much he sat down, and the ref was like, "You got to stand," and he refused to stand, so they just called it. Did you ever see that one?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was a ignominious end to a fighting career. All right, man. Well, you're here. I gotta say, I was very much surprised by your announcement. You were so, you're a vet. You know, I mean, these media days, you know how they handle them.
Yep.
But there was no tell. You had your cards real close to the vest. Did anybody pick up on the fact that this was coming?
I mean, a few people.
Really?
You know,
I'm just an idiot.
In a few interviews, I kind of said, it might be my last one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk it through. From the way it sounded at the post-fight scrum you did, it was those 4 losses, 3 of which were by split decision, which is just one of the most brutal things I've ever seen in the sport. That really just, I don't want to say it incorrectly, so please correct me if I am. It kind of sapped your will for this.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely took some wind out of my sails. Because I would rewatch them, and I felt like I won them. And at the end of the day, though, it still doesn't matter how I felt. In the history books, I lost. You know, so it was like, man, like I had to like fight demons coming into this fight. Like, can you even win, Dennis? Like, it's been 2 years.
You were telling yourself that?
Like, no, man, you can do it. Like, you won those last fights. You know, it's been, not having won in 2 years is crazy to me.
Wow.
You know?
How low did you get?
After the Rick Glenn fight, I told myself I was going to retire.
Yeah, and retire and like not fight anymore,
yeah.
or
going into that Rick Glenn fight, I was like, if I lose, I'm going to retire.
Wow.
And then I thought I won, and I looked at my corner. I'm like, yeah, like you did it. You did exactly what you had to do to win that fight. And then the results came out, and I lost. And I looked at them like, I've got to retire. I told myself I retired, and I sat home for like 2 months, and played some video games and worked on my YouTube and stuff like that, and gained a little bit of weight. I was like, man,
you're like, this is kind of fun.
I'm missing something. Like, I don't feel good about this. You know, I feel like I'm wasting time. And so I started training to start feeling better, and I started feeling better about myself. And I just had some things go down in my life that I was like, man, I need to focus. I need something to focus on, something else, you know, and a fight would do that for me. And started just training my butt off, and was on the phone with my manager, get me a fight. And I wanted to fight on the Anaheim card.
The one that got canceled?
That got canceled, yeah. So when it got canceled, I got kind of bumped up to the Brooklyn card, and I was like, all right, let's do it.
You must have been happier, right? Because did you have family and friends who attended?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet with fighting close to home, because you get people like, hey, what's up with tickets? Like, what do you got? It's like, yo, man, I'm focused on getting into a fist fight. and you're hitting me up for tickets. Like, get out of here.
Dude, friends and family are scum. Even in my line of work, it's like, dude, I get one press pass for me.
Right.
Right? And they're like, what's up with tickets, bro?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't work for Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
I get one pass.
You know, one of my favorites is, where can I get tickets? I'm like, I'm actually the last person you should ask because I've never bought a ticket in my life. I don't know.
True. Has the UFC ever given you tickets?
Yeah.
No. When you're on the card.
Yeah, you get 4 tickets if you're fighting on the card.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why they hit you up.
Yeah, but you only get 4.
So who gets them?
Usually like my team and my family, you know. So like my brother and my wife came, and usually I give one to like, you know, my strength coach or whoever, you know, my manager.
All right, so now it's Monday. You announced a retirement on Saturday. No regrets, huh?
No.
Feels good?
Yeah.
Feels right?
Well, I mean, my foot still hurts.
Yeah, no, okay.
so I mean, that doesn't, you know, my knees are all, you know, scuffed up. Because the thing is, and we were talking about a little earlier, like, you know, when I turned 30, I don't know if it was like in my brain, but I just felt like my body was recovering so much slower, and I didn't feel as good about training, you know.
How old are you now?
I'm 32.
Yeah.
So in terms of retiring, like, it's been hanging around for a year and a half, something like that, you know.
How do you feel about the damage you've taken in your career? I think back to the Stevens loss.
Yeah.
That one, that was.
I mean, that's one of the only ones that I really think.
I mean, you've dished out plenty. I don't mean to.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's another thing that made me retire, is because I'm not one of those guys that goes in there and has a one-hitter quitter power and is putting people away, or I'm not one of those guys that's a submission technician and submitting you really quickly, where I'm getting out of there untouched, you know? Usually my fights are me and another guy punching each other for 15 minutes until one of us, you know, gets tired or something like that, and I accept that going into the fight, that I'm going to take damage, and I'm cool with it. Like, I'm okay with dying in there, you know? And that's not the way I should be going about life at this point, you know? I have kids. If I was single, I would still be like, yes, let's... If I was single and didn't have kids, you know? Well, no, I am single, sorry. If I didn't have kids, I would still be fighting, I think.
Yeah. So how much did the kids play a factor in this one? Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
How old are the kids?
They're gonna be 4 and 6 in April.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
They're getting up there.
Yeah. So, you know, I plan on being like a great grandfather one day, and I want to play with my grandkids and be alert and witty with everything. You know, I've done my research on the sport, and you know, you know, your brain gets a little banged up, you know?
When you first got into it, what did you think, A, what did you think your exit was going to be like? And B, what was your thoughts about when the exit would come? Like, what were the circumstances under which you had thought, like once you were full on in, because I know at first you're like, yeah, I can make some money. But once you were like, okay, this is a career for the next however many years, what did you envision the exit to be?
I actually envisioned my exit kind of being like a lot of fighters, great fighters, and it's a sad one where they become champion, they have got a big name, and it's kind of like, hey, you want $700,000 a fight even if you lose, and you're like, all right, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Versus like ending like I did, like you know, with a win and stuff like that, you know, because I think that's very big in the sport, where guys should have hung it up a while ago, but it's like, I'll go and get another paycheck, you know?
When you watch like Liddell and Ortiz, and simply, I don't want to just besmirch what they are to MMA. They are pioneers and institutions, but at this stage, it's like, what is keeping them around other than what must be a lucrative payday, right? Yeah.
I mean, in their case, like, it's like they were fighting in a Masters league, though. It wasn't like one of them was going against a young stud.
No, did it matter? Liddell got put out in less than it looked like he did. You know?
Yeah, you're right.
So you were trying to avoid something like that in the early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. How bad are the injuries that you've had?
I've fractured my tibia or fibula, one of the two.
Yeah.
My nose, I mean, I deviated my septum, a few stitches, fractured my thumb. I mean, nothing crazy. You know, I think I probably have a concussion or a few, you know. But it's all the training that goes into that 15 minutes to fight, you know. Just constantly getting contusions on my foot and on my shins from sparring, you know. Because the way we spar in Long Island, it's like, yeah, like we're going to kill each other for 15 minutes. We're going to really simulate this fight, but we're just going to put on bigger stuff. Yeah. That's all, you know. So, and it's a double-edged sword because I'm going against the best guys on Long Island to try and get a really, really good look to become the best, you know? So sometimes you're not coming out of those sparring sessions the same way you went in, you know? Sometimes you get a little banged up in those sessions and you go into those fights damaged and hurt, you know?
You know, the internet experts are going to hear this and say, well, why are you sparring like that then?
Kind of just get comfortable being, trying to get comfortable being uncomfortable, you know? If you're in there, you're patty caking, and then you get in a fight and you get hammered, how are you going to react if you're not used to it? You know, so being able to take damage and be able to react and still win, figure out a way to win.
Yeah. When you hear guys say, oh, I don't even spar for camp, you know, at this point, I just hit the mitts and work on drilling positions and I get in there and go. I guess for some guys that might work, but what you're saying is that would not work for you.
Well, no, I mean, it would definitely work for me. I actually, before this fight even got announced, I'm like, man, I'm going to do one last fight. I don't even think I'm going to spar. I'm just going to hit mitts and just do what I feel like doing, you know? Yeah. And then I got the fight and I was like, I have to spar just because I want to be ready, you know? But at the end of the day, if I didn't spar for 2 years and I got back in there, I would still know how to fight.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, of course. It's a lifelong skill at this point. It's like riding a bike a little bit, right? Maybe you wouldn't win the Tour de France, but you could do all right with it.
There are some guys that do need to work on their timing and stuff like that, and I don't think I'm one of those guys.
Why's that?
I just keep on coming.
I guess you find it over time.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with your time in MMA?
Yeah, I mean, I can, and that's another thing too, is as I got up to my number 6 in the world, you know, and as I started falling out of that, I looked back on what I had done and who I had beaten, and I was kind of okay with it then, even though I kept on striving for more. You know, a win over Max Holloway, who's the current champ, it's awesome. Yes. You know, I can hang my hat on that. I beat Clay Guida, who's a legend in the sport. I strung together 6 wins in the featherweight division. I think I had like the most takedowns in the division. So I mean, it's pretty cool.
What about I mean, I know this is an invasive question, but here you are. What about the money you made? Happy with it?
I mean, that was like another reason about retiring. Because it doesn't pay to lose, you know? Like, for example, what the Saints just lost the other day, and they're not going to become champions.
Don't remind me.
In the NFL, but they're going to go home and live a very, very comfortable life. In that 4-fight losing streak, I was fighting paycheck to paycheck, you know? So even though to the average person making 50 grand to show up, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of money. I only make that in a year. Yeah, but now I have to pay taxes on that. I have to pay my manager. I have to pay my trainers. The diet that you have to eat is way more expensive than Hot Pockets and stuff like that, you know, eating very clean and the supplements and stuff like that. So 50 grand after all that said and done is like 25 grand, you know, something like that, you know, maybe less. And then living on Long Island is expensive. You know, I have 2 boys and I have a mortgage on a house and so I was living fight to fight on that 4-fight losing streak there.
What would you like to see changed in MMA? Like, what would be, okay, so the losses and the way that judging worked, perhaps this is part of the answer, but if you could change one thing about MMA, perhaps one thing that would have kept you around longer, what would that be?
2 things, I think. More judges, maybe 7 judges. And then the other thing being this I know we're prize fighters, right? But the fact of fighting for, show and win versus just give me like a bigger show,
Or a flat fee.
a flat fee. Because the thing is if I was going in there, let's say I was getting $100,000 a fight. If I was going in there like, all right, I'll just fall down the first round, like I'm not gonna stick around in your company for very long. No fighter thinks that way, especially if they put in the proper training and everything like that. Everyone, whether I'm gonna win or lose, I'm going in there every time to try and win. I'm going in there to give it to my all. And if there are guys that are willing to go in there and take a fall, they won't last long in the company and they'll get booted.
Yeah. How's your relationship with UFC?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I talk to a lot of guys when they retire, and they usually have, okay, I don't want to overgeneralize, but often they have hard feelings toward the organization.
Yeah.
You don't seem to.
Well, no, I mean, I'm honored to have worked with the highest echelon of MMA. Everybody behind the scenes was very nice to me, and I've always been a yes man to the company. I've been fortunate enough to not have to have a real job, if you will, and just focus on training. Like I said, I mean, I don't have a huge house, but I own a house. I don't have a very expensive car, but I have, I mean? I have these things. I've been able to put food on the table for myself and my kids and not really have to stress about bills. So it could have been worse, if I was working a toll booth or something like that,
It's interesting. It's like if I hear what you're saying, and certainly I don't want to besmirch the organization unfairly. On the other hand, if you reach 6 in the world, you should be paid.
Yeah,
You know what
I mean that's one thing that I am slightly bitter about is that if you're the sixth in the world in the NBA, or if you had spent 8 years in the NBA, like you're good.
You're gonna get paid.
You're good.
6. You can be 60th and get paid.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you spend 8 years in the NBA, like you would have acquired a lot of money.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's the issue. Do you believe in things like MMA unionization at all?
I think because the NFL and the NBA, those are all places like that. I call it NFL money. I mean, they didn't start getting NFL money until they got unionized.
Yeah.
But the sport is still very young compared to the NBA and the NFL. And I'm like, if I was younger and started later, maybe I would get these big dollars. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I was like, man, if I started MMA earlier and I was older, I would have known more and been able to crush those guys out of the pioneers, and that are these big stars now. I'm in that middle where it's just, I'm a tough guy,
Yeah. Favorite fight would be what? As people may not remember, of course, 2013, you beat Max Holloway.
Yes.
Is that your favorite win?
Well, at the time, no, it's not my favorite win.
No, what's the favorite one?
Probably the Matt Grice fight.
Oh, that was a dog fight.
Yeah, because I remember as soon as that final bell rung, just being like, and gasping for air because I had left everything I had in the octagon there,
Least favorite fight? And not so much because of the way the judges put it, but when it was over, that was an unpleasant experience.
Probably, I mean, the most boring fight I've ever been in was against, who's the Japanese guy I fought?
Kawajiri?
Yeah, Kawajiri. I remember, because I had lost twice, and I was just doing what I had to do to secure a win, so it became like a wrestling match,
Yeah.
And not necessarily my fault. He kept shooting on me too, so I was grappling back, Or even the Glenn fight kind of sucked too. I remember just him just being lanky and kicking me from the outside. Like, dude, we gonna bang here? What's going on?
Yeah. What's the most injured you ever went into a fight? UFC or not UFC?
Oh, the most injured I ever went into a fight was was the finale against Diego Brandao. I had actually totally annihilated my elbow really bad. It was this big and purple about 4 weeks out, where I didn't even know if I'm going to be able to compete. I had got armbarred and it hyperextended really bad. And like it was, I almost got a cortisone shot the week of the fight, but there was like a 33% chance that it could go the opposite way and balloon up and be in excruciating pain. So
Same one that he armbarred?
yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That must have been horrible.
Yeah, so like that's why like when he started going over like at here it was like it was already in a bad way.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Dude, this sport is hard, man.
Yeah.
It is hard to get ahead. You got to convince like MMA judging, the more judges theory. I don't know if that would be better or worse. I have no strong opinion about it, but it's got to be weird because it's like figure skating where they're like, this is the only time where I think fighting is an art. It's because you judge it like art.
Yeah, so there is two ways to look at it. I remember speaking with a buddy of mine, and I was saying, man, it really sucks that these judges don't know, that they don't have education behind MMA to give the reason why they won. And my buddy goes, you know what, I actually think it's good that they don't know what they're looking at, because it's kind of like if you were to watch a street fight, who won? You know?
Yeah, but at the same time, on the media side of things, like from my vantage point, it's like, oh, they'll make a scorecard for something. Like, let's say one of your scorecards that were super fucked up.
Yeah.
They're not accountable to me. And who am I speaking on behalf of? I'm speaking on behalf of the public. That's why I'm here, right? So that the public can't ask the judges questions.
Right.
Or the commission questions, but
Right.
ostensibly I can, and they won't answer to me either. So there's never any public accountability. It's like if you got a scorecard and you believe that Dennis Bermudez didn't win this fight, I would like to hear some justification for that.
Yeah.
That's where I think it falls short for me.
I never saw that. You
Yeah,
know?
man.
Because I know I lost a few fights and people knew who the judges were and were like adding them on Twitter.
Yeah, but they
And
don't say shit.
And I almost was gonna be like, yeah, man, you wanna like meet up and talk about this, you know?
But it's true. Like for example, after the whole Tito and Tito and Chuck debacle in California, Andy Foster went and spoke to everybody in the media. The guy who runs the commission out there.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw that?
Yeah, it's
Never.
very rare.
Never.
Very rare.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm working on getting like a real job. Working on I'm working on trying to get into the PSEG.
What is that?
Which is like a lineman. And it's a little dangerous, which is kind of like will keep me on edge a little bit.
You couldn't take a job like, you couldn't, I don't know.
I couldn't be in a cubicle.
Yeah, you're just not built for it.
Yeah. Unless like I'm allowed to play video games all day, you know?
That'd be the greatest cubicle.
Yeah. But you know, people's power goes out and you're kind of like their superhero for the time while it's out until you get going again, you know?
Bro, you want to work in this weather?
I'm tough, man.
Yeah, you are tough. I will give you that. If nothing,
No, I mean,
you're more than that. You are tough as shit.
It's a
lifestyle.
It's an honorable job, you know. I mean, for me, it's the pension is nice,
Right.
and
It's true.
great
Yep.
benefits. And I have 2 boys, and whatever it takes.
You gotta look after them. Did they watch your last fight?
I think so.
At home or?
Yeah, I think so. No, they weren't at the arena.
They were at the arena.
No.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
thought about it, but I was like, I don't.
I had this buddy come over to my house, and he's from Venezuela, and his kid was 5, so in between yours.
Yeah.
And he was drinking coffee and watching fights on my laptop. I was like, "Yo, man, is this normal?" And he's like, "Do you mind?" Like asking, like, "Do I mind?" I'm like, it doesn't matter if I mind. Why is he drinking coffee and watching fist fights? He's like, he's good. I'm like, okay, man. Your kids drink coffee?
They do not.
Yeah.
Hang on, I just picked up drinking coffee within the last 2 years.
It's unicorn blood. This is my 3rd of the day.
Yeah, because I had gone overseas to do an MMA tour for the troops, and I was with Gray Maynard, and he put me onto some espressos and stuff like that, and I just kind of like, I felt like it tasted like crap, but like, you know, a few laters in the bus, I'd be like,
Yep.
whoa, man, I'm kind of pumped. So like,
How about this for a little stat? Caffeine for you. So if you think about all the different drugs people take for performance enhancement, illegal or legal, there are some drugs that if you want to run, they're good for that, or sprinting or long distance. If you want to lift weights, they're good for that, but they're not good for running.
right.
Caffeine is one of the only substances known to man that is good for any kind of athletic performance. How about that?
Yeah, I like it. I'm with it.
If folks want we got to move things along because the show has no time. You have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Menace Tube.
Menace Tube, yep.
Yes. What are you going to put on there? What do you put on there?
I've done like fight predictions and stuff like that, and I was doing cooking with the Menace for a little bit.
Hell yeah.
But it's kind of turning more into just trying to put out cool content, whether it's me jumping off cliffs. I want to do like a paintball episode, racing fast cars, whatever, you know, sky jumping, anything.
Yeah.
Anything adventurous, you know.
Well, I wanted to have you in for a lot of reasons because I wanted to talk to you, obviously. But there's this thing in MMA where sometimes people retire and we spend too much time talking about them because they were a champion, and that's common.
Yeah.
But I think you had a great career, man. You were one of my. I was like, oh, Dennis is on the card. Here comes an action fight.
Yeah.
You never had to worry, and I hope you know that from people who have at least some understanding of the sport. I do not present myself as an expert, but I've been around for a little while. I really respected your game. I really respected the attitude you brought. You were a tough guy, but not just a tough guy, like a committed competitor, and I have a ton of respect for you, man. And I'm sad to see you go, but it sounds like it's the right time, and that means it's a good decision.
Yeah. I'm also I started a podcast. It's called Menace and the Man. And it's different than, you know, the MMA Hour where I ask other fighters, I can ask them questions that you might not be able to.
This is true.
Like, Phil Baroni, you on Tinder? What's going on, man? Phil, are you drunk right now? You know, stuff like, I like to you know, mess with fighters a little bit.
Good.
And I'm kind of allowed to because they know exactly, I know I'm in their shoes.
There's a kinship there. Is that on iTunes? Where is that?
Yeah, it's on iTunes. Yeah.
It's called, what's it called again?
Menace and the Man.
Menace and the Man. Dennis, we got to move along, but I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Congratulations on a great career. And if you ever come back here on the MMA Hour. How about that?
All right, brother.
Thank you so much. And my man Joe will see you out.
All right.
There he is. And the mug is ours, by the way, not yours.